There we go, that was weird. Hello everybody, I am Hacklebeast, and this is week 2, day 2 of the round of 32 of Altitude ISL number 3. Not number 2, number 3. First match will be TTF versus Dewalt, PVT on Jade. In the top right, we have Dewalt, who is the blue Protoss. In the bottom left, we have TTF, the purple Terran. And this is a very even match. Just looking at these two players on paper and looking at them in a qualitative way, they're very similar skill levels. It's going to be really hard to pick a favorite out of this. I think if I had my arm twisted, I'd like Dewalt just ever so slightly more, but again, very close. The map is Jade, so I personally like Jade for Protoss, because while there are high grounds in it, Terrans find it really hard to use those high grounds effectively. You have to really know what you're doing and constantly be on the ball, because while they are high grounds, they're not chokes nearly anywhere on the map. So, if you don't look at it in terms of high grounds or not high grounds, and you look at it in terms of movable area, this map just has so many places you can go. And while it's really easy for Terran to get a third on this map, anything beyond a third can be kind of hard, and pushing, especially cross map like this, can present quite the challenge for Terran in some situations. TTF with the first scout out, and getting a barracks and a refinery before expanding, so going to be going very safe with his expo. Meanwhile, Dewalt not going Zealot first, just going to wait for that first Dragoon. Nothing out of the ordinary for either player yet. Other than Dewalt's scouting. Scouting after Cyber Core is pretty late. And while I'm hesitant to say scouting is not important in a matchup, because it's important in every matchup, this is one of the matchups where early game scouting really doesn't matter so much for the Protoss. Terrans tend not to go for proxy racks bunker rush. It's just not necessary, and not terribly effective against such beefy units like the Zealots. It can be quite difficult. So if you're going to get away with it in a matchup, this one's probably going to be it. We can see TTF building a factory. That's a little bit peculiar of a place to put a factory. You go siege expand if you're afraid that your Protoss opponent's going to be pretty aggressive. But if your Protoss opponent's pretty aggressive, they're just gonna park a Dragoon up here and shoot at your factory. Or even shoot at the SCV as he makes the factory. So, I don't know about this factory placement. I mean, it's gonna make for some really nice wall of factory and, columns of factories later on, but it's the little things. Meanwhile, this SCV almost manages to wear down the pylon shields. Not quite, though, before being chased away by a probe. And now the first Dragoons are coming out. Are the Dragoons going to chase the SCV? No. Dragoons are not going to chase the SCV, and ooh, TTF. TTF gonna get a little bit tricky in the first game, building a proxy factory. Now, this isn't his first factory, so he'll still have stuff at home to defend anything. He's gonna have the bunker, machine shops on the way, albeit delayed because he had to spend 100 gas on this. But, interesting play by DTF. Most likely, he's just going to lift up that factory, drop it down right here, as that's a pretty short gap, and then pump out 2, maybe 3 vultures, and kill as many probes as possible. If you're able to kill 5, 6 probes this early in the game, that's a devastating blow to the Protoss. Meanwhile, Dewalt doesn't know about this yet. He's sending his Dragoons across the map, waiting for range to finish. There it is. Now he can start wailing away on that bunker. TTF is going to need an extra SCV, but it's pretty easy for him to pull that. There it is. He actually pulled that really early. I don't know why. I don't know why he already had SCVs there, because he didn't see other 2 Dragoons coming. But Siege Mode, it should have been done by now, but it's delayed just because of this factory. And the factory's now laid down on the low ground. I don't know why he's not making vultures. It's a really... If you give the opponent time to possibly get more Dragoons, you're just giving him more of an opportunity to hold it off. There we go, now queuing up the vultures. You want to get those out as fast as possible to be able to do as much damage before your opponent has a good number of Dragoons. And man, now Dewalt should be a little bit suspicious. Just slightly, given that his opponent was so late with that siege tech. But he's just continuing to shoot the bunker. I guess he's going to be a little bit fancy here and just take a take shot on each one and before backing off. No reason not to, I guess. It's just going to do 4 damage to the Dragoons, and there's not going to be a really big battle anytime soon. So he has time to restore the shields. But how many vultures is TTF going to wait before going in? If he's going to only go in with 2, he should go in right now. Maybe waiting for a scan? No, he couldn't be waiting for a scan. He doesn't even have an academy. I don't know why he's hesitating on pulling the trigger. He looks like he can get a lot of damage done here. A lot of damage done here. There we go. Alright, vultures are moving out. They don't have speed. They do have mines, though, so he's going to lay down some mines. Just make it even harder for those Dragoons to do any damage. And Dewalt's going to pull his probes now. There is an expansion already up here, so they can safely get away, but still, the vultures managing to do good damage. 1 kill and 5 kill. Oh, that is 7 kills so far. This vulture has 6, and the one that died had 1. There's a lot of vulture kills already. He's going to continue to be able to produce them. The Dragoon's trying to block the ramp, but he can lay mines there and force the Dragoons back, giving him an opportunity to possibly get up. That really doesn't activate it? Man, it really looks like he's going to activate it, but it stops more goons from coming down. And now these vultures can actually do whatever they want until the observer comes out. Okay, the observer is out now. The Dragoons are going to be able to clear the mines. TTF going to be forced to lift that barracks, but he might be able to get 1 more vulture out before the Dragoons... Nope, not going to do it. Just lifting the barracks out. And Dewalt has a probe up there. Actually, he's going to use the observer for vision. If you want to, you could step forward with the goons, get some more shots off, but wouldn't be able to kill it anyway. And Dewalt... Excuse me, and TTF going to start the long process back of floating that factory all the way across the map. Schedule for the day, because I have all the replays and I get to determine my own schedule, is going to be TTF versus Dewalt, then Michael versus Kogut, Semi versus Defi, Bakuryu versus South Park, and then finally, the match that got postponed, Technics versus Gotuk, which is being played right now. It should be playing right now. I don't actually know if it's being played right now, but they scheduled it for 10 minutes ago. So I would have to assume it's being played now. Factory takes a couple more hits, but again, it's going to be fine. It's going to continue to chug along. And... Ooh, Dewalt with the Reaver harass. Interesting. How prepared is TTF to deal with these? Not terribly prepared. He does have an eBay, so he can make more turrets, but there's only a single turret in the front. That turret's not to deter shuttles. That turret is there almost exclusively for DTs. So... the Reaver could do damage. I don't particularly like this map for Reaver Harass, but Reaver Harass can be effective on just about any map. Dewalt's still trying to float this factory over. Oh man, this factory is making an epic quest across the map, trying to dodge packs of Dragoons along the way. I wonder if it'll make it. Anyway, Dewalt's going to move forward. I think he's just scouting out the perimeter a little bit. Give himself, give himself an opening with the shuttle to come in. He's going to push back the engineering bay, but he can't kill it. So the engineering bay still has vision. Is he just going to fly into the engineering bay? I believe he is. Indeed, he is, just flying right over that. He has 2 zealots and a Reaver. I saw him get the Citadel. Is he getting speed? No, no speed. Just going to go straight to those Templar. And the Reaver's laid down. First Scarab going off. Oh, that looked like it should have hit, but it did not, because that would be because then it wouldn't be a Scarab if it actually hit a line of fleeing SCVs. Oh, man. Well, trying to... Ooh, nice. Realizing that there wasn't a tank there, there was nothing to prevent the Reaver from just quickly dropping down, picking off those vultures, and now just a single tank needs to think twice about getting involved there. There are 2 zealots in that shuttle, which can make it a little bit more difficult. Now 3 tanks, certainly more scary for the Terran, and trying a new micro here, I'm not sure if that's the best option, just because it's going to be so hard to get all of those tanks down. And now there's a Goliath as well. Doesn't manage to pick off one of the tanks, though, with the Dragoons on the high ground, which is nice. And only cost him a Zealot. So, overall successful. But you need to be more than successful with Reaver Harass. You need to do some serious economic damage, and he has only killed a single SCV so far. Hey, the factory's here! Nice. The factory does, in fact, make it home. Factories are actually really expensive. 200 minerals, 100 gas is like as much as a hatchery if you think about it. Oh. Did he just lose the shuttle to the turret? He totally just lost the shuttle to the turret. Oh, man. Dewalt. Good sense by Dewalt to not run into that mine. He doesn't have an observer around. I don't know how he knew that there was a mine there. He probably just got lucky. But nice by him to not die. In the meantime, we now have Arbiters on the way. A very quick 2-base Arbiter play. He does have a 3rd one up now. And he's just going to eat the mine. Interesting. Going from Reavers into Arbiter play... You can catch a Terran opponent off guard with that a little bit, but you're sacrificing a lot of your army to do so. It's not that... It's an okay number of goons. But not as high as I think he'd want it to be. Anyway, Vulture's running into a bunch of goons, and he's going to lose all of them, but this one, which will not be able to get through the pylon wall, cannon going down behind that as well. So it'll be completely defended in that regard. TTF should really be working on getting up an expansion here, just because that 3rd base is really easy for Terran to take. You want to hold this high ground anyway with siege tanks. All you need to do is park a couple over here, maybe throw down a supply depot or 2 to mess up some pathing, and that it's like as safe as the one on Fighting Spirit, if not safer, in fact. First Arbiter is out. We can't see what spells he is researching. But we can see if he got energy as soon as that one pops out. Dragoons are still moving across the map, but it's just pure goons. I don't know what he expects to get done with that. He might be gearing up for a recall? But he needs 150 energy for a recall, so it's going to be quite a while before he can actually get it off. Now he's trying to incorporate in some zealots. Is speed on the way? Yes, speed halfway done. Definitely needs those zealots to help him push up this ramp against so many siege tanks. But TTF is setting up a pretty nice defensive position of his own. Maybe a little bit light with the vultures here. But it's not going to be an issue, at least until the speed zealots come back and... Or, excuse me, speed zealots come out. And yes, lots of vultures here. Gonna be able to block that. Wow, that is... you did a very good job of cloaking all of those Dragoons. And... Well, I'm not exactly sure what Dewalt expects to do with this. Is he at least researching stasis? Yeah, he's now getting stasis. So stasis is a little bit late, but it doesn't matter because he needs 100 energy anyway, and it's going to finish only a little bit after 100 energy gets there if you wanted to go for an immediate attack. Well, speed is done. I don't think he can break up this, though, even though the vultures are pretty low in numbers, and the ones that are there are behind the tanks. That's just up a hill with those many mines. Maybe if he gets a mine drag, those tanks are pretty clustered and dangerously close. Might want to see him pick off just those back 2 mines, but anyway, Dewalt is asserting a really nice economy here as his 4th is getting up around the same time the 3rd did. The Arbiter. Oh. Ooh, that was fancy. He actually realized there was no detection there and was doing zealot bombs with the Arbiter. If you didn't catch that, he had cloaking. He has the observer here. He saw that there's no detection, so he just ran a zealot up. They couldn't shoot at it because they couldn't see it. Then he left with the Arbiter, and they all shot it, doing splash damage. That was cute. Nice. Did a little bit. I mean, he only sacrificed 2 zealots in the process. Did some decent damage to some tanks. I think he managed to kill 1. It was pretty good. Well, TTF does have a 3rd base, which is nice, but I'm a little bit disturbed by the lack of vultures he's had out. He did send out a pretty big pack, which got picked off over in this area earlier, but that's not a lot of vultures. Terran players should be trying to be more aggressive with it. He just doesn't have very big vulture numbers, and ooh, why are you laying mines this far back? Okay, these are some very dangerous mines now. They almost seem like anti-recall mines. Some of them are, these are anti-recall mines, and these are probably anti-recall mines. Oh, that Arbiter got shut down. 4 turrets and even getting EMP'd. There was no recall to be had there. TTF is very secure against the recall. Just looking at the number of turrets and the number of mines and on the ball with the EMP, but Dewalt doesn't need to recall. If Terran's going to be this passive, Dewalt should feel absolutely fine. Oh, well, just as I say, he's recall proof. Recall comes in, and it's going to be able to snipe a missile turret. Or excuse me, snipe a command center. Also getting a couple missile turrets, but that's not as important as the command center. Little damage they can do beyond that. There are just so many siege tanks here, and they're pretty bottlenecked. But being annoying here and shutting down that 3rd base is quite nice. They'll need to rebuild the command center. Looks like that's what that one's doing. Yep. Command center restarted even before the Dragoons are completely cleared up. And, oh, taking out 2 vultures. Well, nice recall by Dewalt. Taking out the command center. Pretty good. It's not going to reflect it in the supply. Actually, I was expecting Dewalt to fall a little bit closer, but he only lost about a 10 supply lead. 10 of his supply lead in that. There we go. Now we're getting some vultures out on the map to harass. Over on this side, a little bit of a siege drop, dropping them on the low ground here, just so the probes actually can't attack the tanks. But Dragoons are going to be able to clear that up pretty easily. Not a lot of probe kills there. Meanwhile, these mines should delay Dewalt from actually being able to clear up the vultures, but the cannons are a little bit too good. So the vultures actually need to run by? No, apparently they're not going to run by. Do manage to kill off the couple zealots and a Dragoon though, which is nice. Okay. A little bit surprised by the lack of upgrades from TTF. Oh, okay, 2 just finished. So I saw those vultures only had 1. But now they have 2. Still, 2-0 isn't spectacular. Given how hard he's turtling, I really thought he would go double armories and be at 2-1 by now. Meanwhile, Dewalt's upgrades at 2-0 as well. Looking for his forge to see if he started 3. Forge is over here. Yep, 3 is at least on the way, as opposed to TTF's. Ew. Why? I don't know why Dewalt feels compelled to clear out mines when there's no vultures up there. You could just wait for the observer. Anyway, I think Dewalt realizes that he doesn't need to attack. And as long as TTF sits there, he's just going to be on 3 bases. TTF is going to have a pretty hard time getting up this ramp. There are many different ways the Protoss can come into flank, and the high ground advantage is quite nice. Setting up... Oh, what? Ooh, mistake by Dewalt there is going to cost him 3 Dragoons. Ooh. But this is going to act as a pretty decent Valley of Death here for either player. They can't really do much. It's kind of like in a split map situation on Blue Storm. with just that valley running down the middle that neither player can cross into. But instead of split map, TTF is on 3 bases, and Dewalt has nearly every other one on the map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pretty good bases. Okay, this one isn't actually saturated, but all of these other ones... Okay, this one isn't either. It's just all the gateways. Actually, splitting up his gateways into 2 different locations, little bit of an interesting move there. Normally you only build your gateways in one other main, but normally you only have one other main. So I guess if you have both, why not split them up? And TTF, Dewalt's so fragmented with his bases that I think TTF really needs the Vulture Harass to be able to do anything here. I think he has a lot of opportunity to do damage. Wait, what? Did he really? Did Dewalt stasis his own probe so that they would be invincible from Vulture Harass? That's pretty sick. Alright. Dewalt with 2 really cute moves in the same game. Using those arbiters to their maximum effectiveness. I like it. I like it a lot. Looks like TTF, finally feeling that he needs to push out, is making little progress. Very slowly. Arbiter coming in. Is he going to go for a recall? Indeed he is. Recall going down. Disappearing goons! They didn't even explode into goo. They just all vanished. Oh man, you've seen disappearing lurkers, but disappearing goons is a new one. Awesome. Oh, that's great. Okay, so maybe Dewalt is not actually the master of arbiters, because that was pretty bad. Oh, EMP going down on the other arbiter, so no stasis in this battle. Dewalt's kind of lost his positioning here. If he might have been able to stall TTF a little bit more than he did. And it looks like he's going to try to expand over here. He actually can't because there's a spider mine there. But he wouldn't have been able to kill that with his next if he wants to. I think it's more of hiding it rather than he actually blocked himself. So, here comes Dewalt for an attack. It's not the best of angles, and he's coming in. Good stasis going down. Maybe he would have liked to have gone for some of the ones farther in the back. And there's a lot of Protoss units here, but now's the time when the Siege Tanks start to do lots of damage. The Dragoons are clumping up, but it is enough of an arc, maybe? No, it's not enough of an arc. More Siege Tanks coming up, and Protoss is going to be forced back. Dewalt threw away a lot of units in that engagement. He's actually behind in supply, but he has just so much money he has to throw away units to be able to spend it all. He was at 2k, and now he's just remaxing. You watch his supply just rapidly increasing as he fuse up more units. He can't even mine from all of his bases. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say he needs to use the supply in probes. Excuse me, he needs to use the supply in army rather than probes, but yeah, he should probably be moving those probes out. Maybe a little bit afraid of transferring them with TTF constantly harassing this upper base. Just a siege tank left though, so pretty easy for something to come and kill it, and we'll have to eat some mines on the way. Dewalt not very good with the observers this game. But TTF now attacking in multiple directions, coming up with some siege tanks here, going to shut down this base as well. There is a low ground here with a lot where he has a lot of gateways he can come up to attack it. But if he was contained there, getting up that ramp could be quite difficult. Ooh, eating a lot of mine hits. Units weren't as fragmented as they needed to be. Arbiter cloaking the units of the siege tank can't attack him. Now going back to rebuild the Nexus, he could just transfer the probes down here. Mining bases isn't really an issue for Dewalt at this point. He can just mine anywhere he wants to, as he has nearly 3/4 of the map. This command center is built, but lifted off in hiding, so TTF only down to 1 mining base. Clock is ticking. He needs to get into a position where he feels secure enough to go and take this base. But it's going to be pretty hard considering there are gateways here, there are units here. Dewalt's army is in a very scary position. But TTF moving forward, he has a huge force. Still no armor upgrades, just getting +3 attack. Attack much more important than armor upgrades for Terran. But here comes Dewalt. Big attack from him. Not greatly orchestrated. Units coming in a little bit piecemeal there. He's going to lose a lot of them, and more importantly, did not have an arbiter to get off any stasises. We haven't seen any really good stasises from him this game. I think we only saw the one. Well, and then there was the probe stasis. Can't forget about that. But eating a lot of mine hits once again. That's less than ideal. And TTF really wants to clear off this side of the map so that he can try to set up a split map situation, left half versus right half. He had a little bit of success harassing this. It looks like he's going to go and harass it a little bit more, but it's kind of weird saying harass when you're sending a control group of siege tanks in that direction. Dewalt coming up to clear out this, and oh, he has finally landed that command center. He does now have the opportunity to mine from there and be on more than one base of mining. TTF does not have a lot of money, so he really can't win a huge war of attrition against Dewalt, who's up at 2.5k minerals, 2.5k gas. All these units are going to be taken out. Very good stasis there on those tanks, making that battle really easy for Dewalt to be able to kill them once they come out. And, ooh, TTF making a mistake. We're going to lose that one siege tank, but the other one's going to be in range to kill off the other cannons. Now units coming in to harass this base. Dewalt almost maxed in supply. He actually can't make many units out of these gateways here. I think he has enough supply for 1 or 2 rounds. And, ooh, that Zealot got nice positioning there, but no, not going to lead to a huge hit on the siege tanks. And, ooh, Dewalt's trying to send units down here, but these spider mines doing a good job of harassing a lot of it, stepping forward, trying to get some splash on the siege tanks, and that will be cleaning up the siege tanks. The siege tanks wanted to try to focus on that nexus, but they're not quite going to get it. Still have 2 shots. You still need 2 shots more. But here comes Dewalt to once again shut down mining from this expo, and this is huge for TTF. He really needs to figure out a way to keep this safe, but I'm not sure there is a way. Dewalt just had so much money, just a never-ending supply of money at this point, because every time TTF takes out a base, it doesn't matter. There are 3 more to take its place. Dewalt just as rich as you could possibly be. SCV is trying to, not exactly transferring out, they're just pulling back. There are a lot of siege tanks here, though. Dewalt's going to lose some units. There no vultures, though, means that these zealots are going to be able to get in, and now the siege tanks on the ramp are not focusing on the units up on that high ground. He will, in fact, be able to clear this out. He doesn't even have a detection, so that scanned very late, allowing a lot of those units to get in. And this base will be completely cleared up. The command center needs to be pulled back. Yeah, the command center is going to be pulled back. What are the armor? What are the upgrades? Also 3-0 for Dewalt. Interesting that he did not go for armor. Although armor not terribly important in this matchup, so not that surprising, but a little bit surprising. Well, and now we're back to the position in the game we were 10 minutes ago. Dewalt has 7 bases, TTF has 3, and has absolutely no map presence beyond this one spider mine over here. So, yeah, TTF looked really strong there for a little while, but Dewalt knew that it was okay when Terran pushed. He would be able to eventually overwhelm it with a vastly superior economy. TTF sneaking up the left side once again, but with a much smaller army. He only has less than 100 supply. This base very close to mining out, and unless he can do some amazing damage to not only these top 2 bases here, but also manage to secure this one, this game's going to be over for him. Vulture going down, still unable to kill both these Nexuses. Unfortunate that neither of them went down in 2 harass attempts. Storm going down, pretty much a whiff, hitting a spider mine, and it's kind of tickling the vultures. But this attack might be it, as TTF just might not have enough. There are a good number of siege tanks, and oh, there are not enough zealots here. He could get some storms down, though, and oh, very nice storm hitting 5 siege tanks. Moving forward with the rest of the units, though, and is it going to be enough? He does have to worry about the lack of high ground. Doesn't matter. GG from TTF. Dewalt was going to take it anyway, even if that attack did fail, and Dewalt takes game number 1. Good game. So, moving on to game number 2. Oh, I don't need to do ER. I can do anything, because I don't have a co-caster. So, game number 2, Dewalt versus TTF. In the top position, we have TTF as the red Terran. In the left, we have Dewalt as the yellow Protoss. And I don't know. I'm a little bit worried for TTF in this map. This map is not good for Terran at all. This is definitely a Protoss map, and especially a Terran who plays like TTF. If you're going to do the same thing he did last game, I don't even know if he can take a third on this map, just because he was so passive about it. Jade has a very easy third. Aztec's third is not easy at all, and beyond the fact that it's not easy to take, it's only a mineral only, so it's worth even less. Ooh, but Dewalt's building a forward pylon. And this is not PvZ. Most likely some kind of 2-gate attack. Actually, for any of you who remember Winners League Finals, Bisu versus Flash, Bisu was Protoss in left, Flash was Terran in at top, and Bisu built the forward pylon right here and then built 2 gateways. So we are doing our best to recreate that Winners League final game of Bisu versus Flash at this point. Ooh, but Dewalt misses the gas deal. That is actually huge. He's now going to try to harass this SEV, but TTF is on it, going to keep it alive, and that's a huge blow. Just getting there a little bit too late to stop that gas going down, excuse me, means that the factory's going to get out, means that the vultures or the siege tanks are going to go out. Whether Dewalt wanted to go for more of a Dragoon-oriented or Zealot-oriented attack, either way, factory units help out a lot against that, and if he had stopped that from going down, he might have been able to do a lot of damage. But that gives TTF a great chance here. Only one guy on gas, though. So that's something to keep an eye on. How long is it exactly going to take him to get that factory out? I think that probe is just going to stick around and continue to try to harass as much as possible, especially once that factory goes down. He might do some cute tricks like laying the manor pylon next to the factory to prevent the machine shop. And ooh, Dewalt's actually only going for 1 gate. Okay, I just assumed it was 2 gate because normally when you put a forward gateway like this, you just build 2 gates. There's no reason to not be that. There's no reason to be that forward if it's just going to be 1 gate, or at least not a terribly strong one. And yes, it looks like this probe is just going to continue to try to harass the factory. Marine finally out, so if he wants to lay down the pylon, he needs to do it now, but no, going to pull back. And the first Zealot is going to arrive. No defense against that Zealot. And this is not in a good configuration for Marine Micro. Oh, trying to surround the Marine. Needs only 1 hit from either the probe. Oh! The Marine tripped and fell and died. The probe got off a shot and just didn't show the animation, but it totally looked like the Marine just fell. And now he's going to try to delay that factory as long as possible. I think that Dewalt, after not getting the gas deal, decided not to go for the... excuse me. Decided that it wasn't worth it to go for the 2 gate, because it was less likely that he was going to be able to stop the factory, less likely that he could get much damage done. But he's going to just all out to try to stop this factory from constructing. He's not going to, though. That last SCV will be the end of it, I think. No, he needs 1 more. And that SCV will be the end of it, just barely not getting it. And now the Vulture's on the way. More Zealots coming in to harass, though. And now the Cyber Core is done, so we're going to change into Dragoon production. The Vultures will not help out very much versus the Goons without a machine shop. The machine shop either to produce tanks or to produce spider mines. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dewalt backs off a little bit here, just to wait for the Dragoon reinforcements, because that Vulture is going to be very effective if he tries to micro down things. Very lucky he's not losing that injured Zealot, just taking down the shields of the other one. But here comes the Dragoon. Now the Zealots can turn back around, and let's see the micro here. Okay, taking out 1 Marine, getting a hit on some other units. 1 on the Marine, 1 on the Vulture. And no machine shop, just going to continue to make vultures. If Dewalt just goes for really heavy goon production, this could be very strong here. Could be stronger if he had gone 2-gate. I don't know. I don't understand the rationale of not going for a 2-gate given what you're doing, but Dewalt now needs to back off. He can micro a little bit against some of these units. I'm surprised he's not at least trying. As the Marines and the Vultures don't do too much damage to the Dragoons on their own. Yeah. He definitely could pick off these Vultures or the SCV. The Marines are so far behind. Oh, range is done. Oh, if he wants to continue it, it's going to be a little bit easier. Oh, catching the Vultures at the top of the cliff. That is a bad move for TTF, losing all of his Vultures. Oh, and let me guess, mine's not quite on the way, but if he had kept those 3 Vultures alive until mines got out, which I have to assume is the next upgrade once he gets enough gas, 9 mines this early would be quite powerful. Vulture going in for some harass, though. Dragoon blocking the ramp, shuts that down, doesn't even get the probe that was out. And now the Marines are the defenders. There isn't a bunker for them to run back to, but there is a good number of Marines, and Dewalt wants to go up that ramp. He's going to have a hard time. He can only get 1 Dragoon up at a time, and that high ground is quite annoying. A lot of these Marines are damaged, though, and no medic to heal them. So damaging Marines actually does matter. Alright, now we're just going to start to get kills, though, as they really are just that damaged. 3 Marines gone down so far. SCV going down as well. That was trying to tank some hits. Marine goes down. Oh, but the tank has come out. It looks like he wanted to go for tank first. And now spider mines are on the way. Looks like we have a very delayed FD-esque push coming out with 4 Marines in the tank. But Dewalt has way too many Dragoons for that. He's going to send him running, picking off a lot of those injured ones. Remember how injured they were from the Dragoons harassing him on the cliff. And now, oh, Dewalt's still trying to get up this small ramp, but now he will be able to get the small ramp. There's a mine. Oh, snipes the mine. Very nice. And going to take out the Vulture. Good. Taking out that Vulture before it gets more mines out. Very strong. Oh, mine hit on the Zealot. Oh, mine hit on 2 Goons. Oh, that's going to hurt. And Dewalt's actually going to be forced back here. He really can't do much else. There is still this tank and Marine coming in for a sneak attack on the Goons, possibly, but it's a sneak attack that backfired. The Goons could snipe this tank pretty easily. Oh, I'm surprised Dewalt didn't actually go after that. That was a pretty injured tank. He had a full health Goon at front. Well, Templar Archives on the way. Observatory down. We'll have to see exactly what he goes for with that Templar Archives. Could be DT drop? It could be a DT drop, although he did get the observatory. If he didn't get the observatory, I'd say certainly DT drop, but it could just be coincidental that they're coming down at the same time. Throwing down that pylon, that should be cancelled. Yeah, it's not going to die immediately, but it's just going to die eventually, I think. TTF forced back once again, but this mine... No, he's not going to continue to pursue. Good for him. Making sure that he doesn't take any more unnecessary mine hits. But it is going to cost him the pylon doing that. I'm really surprised he didn't cancel. Ooh, even resorting to a shield battery. Dewalt feeling the pressure right here. And, well, it is a shuttle. And there is a Dark Templar. Okay, shuttle plus Dark Templar tends to mean that DT drops are coming. And there is even an observer to help clear out mines. What kind of detection? No detection. 0 detection at all. Ooh, alright. Well, he does have detection in one form, and that is spider mines. If he happens to, like, intuitively guess the DTs are coming... Oh, okay. Well, we got turrets on the way. We have at least a turret on the way. That's a really nice read to be building anti-shuttle turrets. But that's more of an anti-reaver turret, because it's so far here. If you put it a little bit closer, then not only would it shoot at shuttles, but it would also... Excuse me, but it would also detect in the mineral line. So that is not going to completely shut down harass. TTF coming in for another attack. He likes to go around this side angle just because coming down this very small ramp can be disastrous if you're not ready. Maybe a little bit too cautious given that Dewalt, given that it's very unlikely that Dewalt would be that far forward. And yet he's gonna go down that side ramp, but then try to come up this small ramp. And he can't get up this. This is looking too strong. We're gonna have some DT drops. Or excuse me, DT bombs. But DT bombs don't work when your opponent can't see them. And now it's on its way over. He just wanted to drop the Zealot to try to annoy. And while there is a shuttle out, no detection other than that lone turret that does not cover anything. It barely would cover the end of those, excuse me, the end of those SCVs. And here comes the shuttle. He realizes now, oh, it's actually DTs. And let's see how much damage he can do with them. I think it can be a lot. The SCVs don't have a safe place to go to, as there's not detection in either place. He's not going to be able to get turrets up either. He's going to be forced to live that command center. He does need to stay away from this turret. Oh, but I thought that turret had a little bit more vision range. No, in fact, it's absolutely worthless. Meanwhile, coming in for an attack here, but that attack is not going to be enough. GG from TTF. DT drops take game number 2. Very nice. Water is good. Alright. So, game number 3 of TTF versus Dewalt. Will Stukov be eliminated? Or will he force at least a game number 4? Bloody Ridge. Alright. So, in the bottom left, we have Dewalt as the purple Protoss. In the top right, we have TTF as the teal Terran. Oh man, gotta love that alliteration. Teal Terran, purple Protoss. Is it a special form of alliteration if it's not only same letter, but same number of syllables? Purple Protoss, teal Terran. I think that gets a special category. I'm pretty sure it does, but I can't remember it. Oh, and DeWalt's cheesing. Oh, that's a shame. This map isn't very good for Protoss in TVP, and you saw Protosses when they did have to play TVCs on this map in Pro League. There was a lot of carriers on this map, getting me a little bit excited. And oh, he's going for the jumper cheese. This is what Jumper did versus Schnitzel yesterday, putting some gateways over here. Hopefully he won't have his probe moving down in this direction. When TTF comes out, we can change and look at only TTF's vision and see if that scouting SCV is going to see anything. It's not a scouting SCV, it's a blocking SCV. Yeah, he's gonna block it to prevent the probe from getting in. Yeah, until he can get down the barracks. Interesting. TTF really fearful of that, excuse me, very fearful of that scouting probe from getting in. What DeWalt needs to be fearful of is his probe getting a little bit too close that TTF might see it. Might see this, the gateway coming in. I kind of want to stick on TTF's vision just to see if he accidentally gets too close to see it. If he takes out that probe, that would be very nice to pick that off quickly. And oh man, DeWalt is playing a dangerous game as TTF's SCV getting really close to seeing it a couple of times now. And now, that SCV scout is so late at 16 supply. Excuse me, at 14 supply. It was 16 for the Protoss. And now the Zealot's gonna come out. He has no idea it's coming until now when the barracks can see it. And it's going to be a Dragoon follow-up, only one gateway, and the assimilator has finished. Cybercore should be starting, although he has very few minerals. But this is pretty tight. That is that's a excuse me, that is a Zergling tight wall that this Marine can get into the crevice here. So is DeWalt just going to ignore it and attack? Nope, he's not going to ignore the only Marine. Surprised he's not making another Marine. I thought 2 could fit in there, but apparently not. I don't know why. I don't know what that was. He like brought back one Zealot so that the probe could get into attack. I don't understand why. But Dewalt's going for Fast Factory. He's actually going for 2-fact now. He's going to be able to get out a proper number of tanks, and I think TTF's going to be able to hold this off. Does manage to pick off the SCV before it actually sees the Cyber Core, but that's little consolation. Ooh, why were you that far forward, Marine? I don't know. I don't know why the Marine was that far forward. I was right that you could fit more Marines in here, but you need to keep them back. Still waiting for the Dragoon. This is kind of like a ghetto bunker. It's a bunker against Zealots, but it's a pretty bad bunker versus Dragoons. And now he's gonna get those out of there. I think it's just because he realized the Dragoon was coming, and he needs to be able to have a little bit more micro opportunity against that. Otherwise, the Dragoon could range down all the Marines. Well, first tank is gonna be out, and that's gonna make anything Dewalt tries to do really hard. But also consider that Dewalt hasn't invested that much into this proxy. He only built 1 forward gateway, and he built 2 zealots. So his economy is not going to be terribly hurt by this, and it's only going to cost him a pylon and a gateway once TTF breaks out. But he's gonna have to deal with a very fierce 2-fact follow-up, and with only 1 gateway. Oh, it's fine. He's gonna go Dark Templar. That's cool. And a forge. I don't know why there's a forge. To get cannons for... He could either use the cannons offensively here, which seems like a terrible idea because there are tanks out. He could use the cannons defensively at his base, but that seems like a terrible idea because there are tanks out. Or he could be using them for detection, which seems like a terrible idea because there are tanks out. I don't know why he's getting a forge. And he's going to lose all of his units. He's unable to snipe any of the tanks. He doesn't even do any damage to any of the tanks. And the tanks are just going to come over here, take out that pylon, just to make sure that no reinforcements can attack him from the back end. Oh, the TT's going to get out. It is visible for a second. If he was paying attention, he would have saw that there's a DT there. Oh, but the barracks goes down. The DT is stuffed. Oh man, and vultures are now in the base. I guess the forge was there to prevent vulture harass, but it's a little bit too late. As there's already a vulture in there, starting to rack up the probe kills up to 4. And no, they were also supposed to be in the front. I don't know what they could. They're siege tanks. Siege tanks beat cannons. They're like really good versus cannons and stuff. It's almost as if Blizzard specifically designed the siege tanks to beat static defense. It's like as if it was their entire purpose in the game. Or something. Well, DT can't get in because there are too many mines. And Dewalt's getting a dropship? Or excuse me, TTF's getting a dropship? Don't know why that's necessary, but alright. That's fine. You can't... He's gonna have a hard time doing anything just because of the DTs in there. And he doesn't have any detection yet. He needs an academy. And, oh, Spider-Mine's laid behind the DT, so now the DT can't go in either direction. It's just stuck. The starport is finished. Curious to see what he's going to use the starport for. I do not know. Anyway, making turrets in the middle of the map just for detection against the DTs. Well, it looks like that DT died. Such a shame. And there is the control tower add-on. So, most likely dropships. Oh. Well, does man, he got a couple vultures on an SCV, which is nice. Alright. This DT is getting very lucky to not actually hit any of the mines. Also pretty lucky that TTF isn't paying attention at all, so he's just gonna let his units die. I think the DT might be better served just oh Spider-Man block! Awesome! Awesome! The Spider-Man blocked the other Spider-Man and gave the DT enough time to run back to the cannons! Oh, Spider-Mines! As bad of AI as goons, apparently. Oh, but now there are lots more mines, and the DT doesn't know where the mines are, so he's actually having trouble getting far forward. I'm really surprised that when earlier he didn't just send the DTs up to attack the tanks. Maybe that would have been in range of the missile turret, but even if there were mines up there, then he would have hit 3 tanks with mines. This gateway's still here. Anyway, the shuttle's gonna have a hard time getting in with that many turrets. And he does pick up another DT, sniping that turret, so... Well, the tanks are sieging up, and they're sieging up very close to mines. The Zealot Bomb could be really effective right here as the first one goes down, and... Oh! Wait, was that the DT? He dropped the DT! Oops! I think he meant to drop the Zealot. Well, manages to do damage to 2 of the tanks. Really surprised the Marine hasn't just started shooting at that gateway, because... While the gateway can't do anything, it does provide vision. So, you're just allowing your opponent to have a free scout. Well, Dragoons are coming forward, but there's too many mines. There's too many mines of the DTF with pretty good micro on the tanks, keeping them all alive, although they did take some shots. Yeah, I think you lost one of the tanks. Oh, but more tanks coming in, and siege mode's just going to be such a pain to deal with. We're going to go in from more DT drops, but they're all huddling around the turret until more SCVs get over here. Ah, I was going to say, TTF hasn't been using his dropship tech. And there we go. TTF's going to use his dropship tech, dropping some vultures into the base. To avoid having to siege down those cannons. Unfortunately, he's going to lose the barracks. They're flying that a little bit too close. But these vultures are being quite annoying, forcing the probes to go back and forth. There aren't that many probes for Dewalt to begin with. Pretty bad saturation just because of the game he's been playing. And oh, TTF's being so annoying with his dropship harass. Gonna lay some mines down in the mineral line. Making it scary for units to come back and deal with. But there are observers out, so the observers will be able to handle that. Ooh, that Dragoon was getting dangerously close. And now laying more mines, getting more turrets, and TTF is just going to set up an impenetrable contain. Or at least is going to attempt to. Wait, was that a... It was a DT. I don't know how the DT managed to sneak past all the mines. Maybe the dropship came over here real briefly to drop it off. But managing to rack up a few kills. In the meantime, going to run into all these mines, though. So, can't actually do that much. And... No! I thought for a second this game was going to wear off. That would have been great. But no. TTF was in fact paying attention, and the vultures pick it off. And TTF sallying forward with the siege tanks just inching his way up. Doing a little bit of trench warfare over here. Nope. Alright, well, I guess he found his limit for how far forward he can lay mines. Oh, nice Zealot drag. He killed a vulture, killed a tank, and injured another one. And more Zealot drops. There are so many turrets, though, that he has to be really quick with these Zealot drops before the shuttle dies. And yep, there goes the shuttle. Oh, but getting really, really nice mine hits. It looks like Dewalt's actually going to be able to break out of this. Just the tanks. I thought TDF was going as slowly as possible, yet he was still going too fast because he came a little bit too far in front of the turrets. Zealot's able to get a lot of hits off. I don't know why he wasn't destroying his own mines as he went forward. Maybe he just didn't have enough mines to feel comfortable destroying some of them. But anyway, Dewalt has finally broken out. And what's the supply looking like? Pretty close to even. Dewalt only behind by a little bit. This gateway, just nobody's gonna kill this gateway. And just as I say that, these tanks come back. And these tanks will be killing this gateway. Alright. Oh, excuse me. SCV sees the probe coming up here. Not surprising that Dewalt wants an expansion immediately. Alright. Really? Dewalt! Dewalt! Don't do that. It's a little bit too late for Reaver Harass. Considering that you already went DTs and everything's littered with mines and turrets and whatnot, it's a little bit too late to be going Reavers, don't you think? Possibly. Oh, all the Dragoons are out on the map, so none of them can come back to the... So they all have to come back to try to defend against the Vultures. Oh, 4 Vulture Harass being pretty effective here. They're gonna see the Robo. At least I think they're gonna see the Robo. Pretty sure they're gonna see the Robo. Okay, they certainly see the Robo now. So, yeah, that's... Vultures managed to do some good damage, picking off a fair number of probes. I really don't know why he's deciding to go Robo. That's off-placed. That looks off-placed. I think it could be closer to the gas. But maybe not, because TTF's... No, it definitely could be closer to the gas. Awesome. They both off-placed theirs in the same way. Ah, that's funny. At least I think it's off-place. Just looking at how 3 SCVs mine, there's a gap before when one comes out and the other one goes in. That's what it seems to indicate. It seems to indicate that anyway. Where's the Reaver? Did I miss it dying to turrets? Because there are a lot of turrets, and I don't know how it was going to be able to do any damage. Nope. Okay, he hasn't died to turrets yet. Coming across the map. It's going to die to turrets, inevitably. It does not take much clairvoyance to see that there are way too many turrets here. And Dewalt already lost like 2 shuttles to turrets earlier. In trying to break out of that contain. Vulture S coming in again. There is a Dragoon, there is a cannon there. So they won't get too many kills, but doing a little bit of damage still. Flies in, takes 2 missile hits, flies back out. Turret there, and then he'll fly over here, and he'll see a turret there. Okay. Okay, so is he at least going to kill that turret? If he didn't know about Reavers before, he should have, but he'll certainly know about it now. He needs to pick up that Reaver. Oh, lucky. Just barely waddling the Reaver out of range. And getting a nice hit off on the tanks. And he's going to stop construction of that missile turret underneath the engineering bay. He actually has to move the engineering bay away so he can click another SCV to it. Okay, so it didn't die to turrets, but it still was able to do next to no damage. And science facility on the way for TTF. That's a little bit surprising how early that is, considering that Arbiter Tribunal probably isn't going to be out for a while. He does have a Stargate, he does have a Templar Archives, but I don't think he has enough money to really get Arbiters out. Anyway, TTF being a lot more aggressive with the Vultures this game, I like that a lot. I think that was really the problem he had in the last game, just being too passive. Or not in the last game, in the first game. The last game was so fast, completely lost track of that one. But no, I think he needs to be a little bit better about getting those Vultures out, which he's doing this game. Absolutely great. Laying mines out everywhere, so many little teal dots on the map. Just want to make sure that the Protoss stays on 3 bases, because as long as the Protoss is on 3 bases, Protoss is losing this game. And I'm trying to find that shuttle again. Oh. Well, he does have an Arbiter Tribunal. Okay. So I guess that science vessel isn't that early. I mean, the science facility still was finished before the Arbiter Tribunal was. And Dewalt's going to try to take this expo. Any expo beyond this is going to be very difficult for him. And even this one, if TTF starts pushing in that direction, could be pretty hard for him to hold. Oh, hey, here's the shuttle. It looks like the Goliath's going to go chase that one down. He got the... Oh, he got Goliath range upgrade. Interesting. But Goliath eats a shot and is going to be forced back. And all the tanks are going to move forward, but unfortunately for TTF, tanks can't shoot up. Man, if tanks could shoot up, would there ever be a reason to build another unit? Alright, so, interesting. TTF's actually gonna push around the longer way and come like in a zigzag pattern, going down, then up and left, and then down again. Ooh, uh-oh. 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 Eating a lot of mine hits. And, well, TTF's going to be in a position to confront Dewalt's army, or vice versa. Whichever way you look at it, but Dewalt's going to need to pull back. He cannot handle these high grounds very well. Observer gets picked off. I assume the science vessel should be out soon. No, there's one at least. Looks like he delayed production on them a little bit too long, going to give his opponent a chance to have arbiters out. But little he can do with it. Still has the Reaver there, but the Reaver's not going to be able to do very much at this point in the game. There's just too many units that can kill it too quickly. Interesting. Scouting SCV getting a little bit aggressive there, trying to take out the Nexus. And here comes the attack. The Zealots are actually going to get a pretty good attack off here, just as there weren't many Vultures. Stasis going down on some of the back tanks, but there are just so many tanks. GG. So many tanks. TTF not going to go out 3-0. Takes game number 3. So, game number 4, TTF versus Dewalt. Ooh, match point. Match point's awesome. So, bottom left we have TTF. There we go. Orange. The Orange Terran. Top right we have Dewalt as the red Protoss. I'd like to point out how I find it funny, the dichotomy of the two pictures, because I didn't have a picture for TTF, and I couldn't think of anything good to represent TTF, or try too fast, which is what TTF stands for. So I just went, well, he's Russian, and he's Terran, so he's Stukov. Let's go with Stukov. But I matched up like the super manly Russian commander from StarCraft with Dewalt, who is by far the most baby-faced of all the people I have pictures for. So it was unintentional for them to look so different, but what are you gonna do? Alright, well, Dewalt's not gonna cheese. It's probably a good idea, even if there are a lot of fun places you could put cheese on match point. And TTF is going to look for the cheese. This is probably the most common place for a cheese, putting it behind the mineral only on the third. Other common places involve this spot, the unseen part of the very big main, or in the third over here. Not a third, but in that base over there. But no such cheese. Dewalt going for standard game. Is he going to go Zealot first? Or is he going to revert back to just Goons? He will, in fact, be going just goons. And TTF is pretty well done. So, TTF has gone gas first every game, which is a little bit surprising, just considering that lots of Terrans like to get that early command center out, just because your economy is so much better, even if it is a little less safe. And I guess versus Dewalt it was a good move, because in 2 out of the 3 games, Dewalt's been pretty aggressive. But, as a general rule, I was a little bit surprised by that. Maybe it's Dewalt-specific stuff. Anyway, Dewalt can try to be annoying here as long as possible, but TTF isn't planning on throwing down the command center anytime soon. So it really doesn't make a difference. Oh. I never noticed that there was a little patch here to indicate where you're supposed to throw down your command center. Some maps have that, but I did not know Match Point was one of those maps. Huh. Never noticed that before. Is it over on this side, too? Yep, indeed it is. Oh! SCV managed to do 400 damage to the pylon. Pretty good work. That must be really boring, though. Because it's just like, hey, stand in front of this big crystal and use a blowtorch on it. For an indiscriminate amount of time. Just stand there with your arm extended. We gave you a suit, so you can actually like put the arm in lock position, so you don't actually have to hold up your arm, but pretty much just stand there looking at fire. And then be attacked by whenever the Dragoon inevitably comes out. Well, TTF is going to go for 2-fact again. He went for 2-fact last game, but it was probably more reactionary based on the fact that Dewalt was cheesing. Now it's just going to be a straight-up 2-fact, and this does have an opportunity to be very strong. It also depends a lot on whether Dewalt's going to scout it, but highly unlikely he scouts it, as Marines are stopping the probes from coming in, and even if the probe did get in, there would be a barracks to stop it from actually seeing 2 factories. And Dewalt... Ooh... Oh, no, Dewalt... Dewalt's getting... Dewalt went 1 gate robo, and he's getting a robo support. Oh, he's going for super fast Reaver harass versus a 2-fact. I mean, the 2-fact's going to be gone, and he's going to have an opportunity to do a lot of damage with the Reaver, but I don't know how he's going to be able to live. He could try to use the Reaver to defend, and, like, that's possible, but you need really good Reaver micro. And I don't know if I've seen quite that level of Reaver micro from Dewalt in his other 2 games. It was pretty good. But I think that TTF picked the right build in the situation. And here comes the attack, leading with a couple of Marines, trying to chase away a scouting probe just like that, keeping the tanks away from it so that Dewalt is in the dark just as long as possible. I don't see the scouting probe around this way. He really wants to see the command center timing. If it could see the command center timing, he would know that the attack's coming. And finally going to see that, knows that there's a big attack coming as there's no command center, not floating anything out. And here it is up here. Vultures and Marines and tanks, getting those good upgrades for them as well. Already has speed, already has mines. And even laying some mines down in the front just in case there's a DT that decides it wants to walk in. Oh, and TTF's leaving. Or excuse me, Dewalt's leaving. Good luck, Dewalt. Good luck, Dewalt. And now immediately coming back with the Reaver, realizes that he's in a lot of trouble. I don't know why he didn't expect an attack, given that his opponent didn't have that command center. But for whatever reason, the tanks are stepping forward. He has killed a couple of Dragoons, but he's lost most of his other units. I don't think TTF was microing that terribly well. So he's at least going to get his siege tanks in a pretty good position here. Siege mode should be done pretty soon, I would think. But oh, needs to be careful of that Reaver, not to let the Reaver get too many shots off. He's moving forward, trying to hit the Dragoons, and oh, not going to get that mine shot off on any more. It does lose one of the tanks, though, and the tanks are rather precious here. He might not even have the opportunity to really siege them up, just because there's already a dropship out, and zealot bombs are particularly scary at this point. Interesting, Dewalt getting shuttle speed? Oh, Dewalt's really gonna commit to the shuttle aggression, apparently. But Observer's already out with that fast robo, so should not be taking too many more mine hits here. And Dewalt thinking about moving out? I don't know if that's the best idea. Two tanks are coming back. By stalling Dewalt, it has given TTF enough time to get up whatever defenses he thinks is necessary to deal with a Reaver harass. Which I guess is mines. A lot of mines. Well, so the 2-fac didn't do much damage. He only killed a couple of probes and a pylon and then some units. And the Reaver harass hasn't done much damage either yet. So it's pretty even because both of them went for such aggressive builds. And yeah, Protoss up by a little more than 10 supply. Kind of reflects that. But here comes the Reaver. He's gonna, if he drops it, yeah, I think he needed more than just one mine there. Reaver's gonna get the shot off. Looks like it's gonna be a dud though. Can kill a couple units here. Targeting that missile turret kills an SCV. Yeah, Zealot kills an SCV as well, although the Zealot dies. And that's too many Dragoons for a Vulture run by here. TTF did want to try to get something going. Oh, a shuttle moving back, and whoa, those Vultures are gonna manage to get in. Loses 2 of them in the process, but one gets in, managing to lay down a couple of spider mines. 2 of the spider mines getting taken out, and the third one, no, the third one is going to live. So the Dragoons, Dragoons do manage to take it out. How many probe kills is this Vulture gonna get? 2 so far, doing a pretty good job here. 3 now, might be able to get one more. Nope, not gonna get one more. At least not in the main. Heading down to the natural, that is 4. And now this Vulture ass is actually very effective, just with the 3 Vultures running in, getting 5 kills like that, also getting a scout off. Very nice. And a Wraith out for TTF. Really fearful of that Reaver harass. He got a control tower, but he's... I don't see the dropship. Okay, he canceled the second Wraith. I don't know what he saw that was particularly scary, but I think he was planning on going dropship, but then got a Wraith and then canceled the Wraith and then started the Wraith again. Oh man, 2 speed shuttles coming in with lots of Reaver harass, double Reaver, Dragoon, and 2 Zealots, but he's gonna eat so many hits, and he loses the shuttle before he can get the other Zealot off, so 1 Zealot goes down immediately, and oh, that did not work out at all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Okay, it actually worked out a little bit because he got a tank, but yeah, that was pretty bad. Oh, man. TTF proving that the double speed shuttle harass isn't very viable in TVP. But he does manage to sneak in with some more Vultures and is doing a lot of economic damage here. I don't know why he's not focusing more on the probes. They're all gone now, but he had a chance to kill a couple of them before they all got away. We'll lose his Vultures, but did do some good damage before they went down, forcing them to move as well. And TTF putting the aggression back on, going to be able to shut down that base for sure if he wants to. And 3 SCVs. 4 SCVs. Why? Was it? They're there on purpose? 4 SCVs on purpose. Alright, we're going to be repairing those tanks. Get that mass repair on the tanks going. Oh, and he's going to go into the flash spot. This spot is so annoying because you can siege down the natural. This is one of very few maps where the natural is actually tankable. if you know what you're doing, and the Dragoons cannot get down that ramp. There are too many tanks there. Wraiths to provide vision. The vision range on Wraiths is surprisingly low, but he's going to be good enough to make it so that Dragoons just can't get down. And now he can get forward with the tanks a little bit and start to work down that Nexus. If he loses that Nexus, that's going to be a huge blow. And oh, Vulture sneaking in from behind, doing more harass to the probes. TTF looking very good this game, attacking both the third and the natural at the same time. And Dewalt isn't really able to deal with either right now. Dragoon stepping forward, they want to try to deal with these tanks. Does manage to kill one of them, takes out the Wraiths as well. So these tanks don't have vision. It's going to hurt a little bit, but not enough to make the difference. And the Dragoons are actually walled in now? Apparently he walled in his own Dragoons. Oh, but he doesn't have a way of dealing with these Vultures if he walls in the Dragoons. So Vulture's going to step forward now, take out the probes. Oh, that's not tight. I don't know where the hole is in that to make it not tight, but now that the Wraiths are dead, he can start using the shuttles again, getting more speed lots out. I'm just going to try to do some bombs there. And still making Reavers! Really? Really? Still making Reavers, huh? Alright. Alright. Is TTF still making Wraiths? Nope, making the dropship though. So there's a dropship. I think he wanted a little bit earlier. And yeah, he's just going to constantly be attacking these bases. Where game 1 he was playing as turtly as possible. Game 2, there is hardly a time where TTF does not have a unit that can attack something of Dewalt's. It seems like he is always in an aggressive position. Oh, load up the dropship with a couple vultures. See where he goes with that. Oh man, the Reaver double DT drop with the speed shuttle. Fearsome. But he's gonna run into a turret. And if he drops the DT, they're just gonna hit mines. I don't know he was going for that, but he's gonna back off. And, ooh, very close to sniping that dropship, but he does realize the dropship's coming in, so he knows he needs to send some units back. There's a little bit of a forewarning in that regard, even if he doesn't snipe the dropship. Can get the probes out of there as well, which means that this isn't going to be terribly effective. We'll be able to pick off some of them, though, because Dewalt doesn't take all of his probes back. And here comes the DT Reaver to pick off some turrets. Okay. Why not? Oh. Did the Dragoons not... The Dragoons didn't finish it off. I don't know why the Dragoons... Maybe those are 4 new Vultures? But this is hardly oversaturated. How many kills can this tank get before the Dragoons pick it off? Oh, 6 already! Can it get another shot off? No, it's focusing on the Dragoons instead. Oh, it had another shot to get another chance to get a shot off. That would have been 3 or 4 more probe kills. Now this Vulture's moving in, trying to get some kills of its own, up to 6. This harass from TTF is just unrelenting. Doing so much damage here. And Dewalt's harass, despite how scary initially you would think a DT Reaver drop would be, they're at least kind of just viscerally think it would be. It actually is not working out for him at all because there's too many turrets. And turrets are actually a pretty good counter to shuttles and a pretty good counter to DTs. Well, TTF's still trying to work on getting his next base, though. Both of these players... I wouldn't be surprised if these players are actually kind of close to mining out. The Dark Templar needs to be careful he doesn't get too close to the turret, otherwise they'll immediately die. Just managed to pick off one of the tanks, though, at least stopping it from linking up with the rest of its forces. But it's going to cost him Zealot and Dragoon in the process. Meanwhile, more Vultures coming in to do yet more harass. It looks like he put a pylon here trying to block the Vultures from being able to get back. But they're still very effective in the harass. At this point in the game, you would expect Dewalt to be mined out, but he actually still has a good amount of minerals at both of his bases and is now transitioning into Arbiter tech. Interesting, hiding both the Stargate and the Arbiter Tribunal this time in his natural, so that if TTF scans the main looking for it, he won't see it. Meanwhile, TTF has managed to, has managed to expand here. Is that the shuttle still? Yes, it is the shuttle still. Still with the Reaver and the 2 DTs. And, ooh, the shuttle just missing the dropship. But there's a turret there. Oh, man. So, looks like that SCV... Nope, not following the dropship. I thought it was. But the dropship's coming back. It's going to drop 2 tanks here and be just as annoying as before. Oh, there are 4 High Templar! The 4 High Templar need to flee. They don't actually have energy for Storm, even if they wanted to use it on the tanks. Which, I don't know if you would want to use it on the tanks. But there's 1 tank that's going to siege up in between 2 Dragoons. So that didn't work out. I'm surprised he didn't just drop both of the tanks there. They're pretty safe. But now he's given Dewalt a chance to get the Dragoons in. And that harass is going to be cleaned up pretty easily. Where's the shuttle? Oh! You totally saw that with the observer. Oh man, you totally should have had that. Anyway, TTF has expanded down into this bottom expo and is building missile turrets here to try to keep zealots out, I guess. Ah, here's the shuttle. Hard to keep an eye on that thing and just moving around all over the map. This time trying to secure a 4th base. And we have science vessels on the way now that he's scouted that Arbiter tech. First Arbiter should be out. Indeed it is. And oh, alright. The Storm... Oh, I was going to say it was going to be a Storm DT Reaver drop. But no, the DTs and the Reavers have been dropped off. Just point out they all have like no kills. 0 kills on both of the DTs and 4 kills on the Reaver. Alright. So here's a shuttle. It might not actually be for drops necessarily. It could just be to keep them safe. Both from Vulture trying to snipe them and from EMPs. This base is very stormable. You just park a Templar right here and you can storm all of those SCVs. This base also pretty stormable. You just drop Templars in the back. How much money does TTF have left? Getting pretty close to running down. Excuse me. Getting pretty close to running down his first 2 bases. Other 2 still heavily populated with minerals. But here comes Dewalt to attack this base. There's nothing here for TTF to defend. He certainly could have defended it if he had put some tanks there, but I don't think he was really worried about a Dewalt attack, just given how aggressive he would be. But he finally took his foot off the gas in terms of aggression, and now Dewalt can put it right back on. About even supply for both players. Dewalt with just a very slim supply lead. How is TTF going to respond? Carrying off that observer. Where... Man, I lost track of that speed shuttle again. Apparently this Dragoon lost track of where his army is. He's like chasing this SCV. He's gonna get it? Is he gonna get it? Alright. No, he picked off a Vulture. Alright. TTF moving forward. These tanks are very clumped up. If that shuttle... Ah, there's the shuttle. If that shuttle can get the High Templar off and do storm bombs, essentially, on those tanks, they can do a lot of damage. And, oh, he's got to avoid sieging the tanks up on the mine. Hopefully he hugs this cliff. It looks like that's what he's going to do. As he pushes down this ramp, putting his units in a very good position here to start attacking. Oh, but he has to worry about it right now. Dewalt attacking from this angle. There are a lot of mines to help out, but a stasis goes down. Ooh, but stasis on the front tanks, not on the back tanks. They were even more clumped up in the back. And these front tanks are going to act as a wall, a natural thing that blocks them. Oh, storm going off on a tank. What? How did you... Oh, there we go. Finally. There was a huge pack of tanks back there, and he just kept missing them. But now he finally gets off some good storms. The few tanks that are left back there are pretty injured, but it's just not going to be enough. He had a lot of spells there, but he just didn't use the spells as effectively as he could have. If he had stasis the back ones and stormed a little bit better, he would have been able to clean that battle up originally, instead of now eventually winning it. Or not. It's going to be pretty close either way. Depends on who brings in a little bit of extra reinforcements. Oh, there's the Reaver. Reaver Trying to get away from the tanks. Fleeing the tanks. And... yeah, got shut off. Oh, but here's the TT! The TT Reaver combo! The TT trying to avenge his shuttle buddy. Oh, he dies too. Now it looks like TTF's going to be able to take out this base. Once again, reducing Dewalt to only 2, and 2 pretty low bases as the 3rd and the natural are getting quite down there. Alright, and we got an Arbiter killing stuff. TTF thinking about expanding down here again? Looks like he's thinking about expanding down here again, but given his army position, this tends to be the little bit better expansion place on match point, and players tend to use that as a 5th base more regularly than the one that's very close to their own main, which is a little bit weird when you just first see it, but it's just the way it usually works on this map. Ooh, Dragoon bombing those vultures. So the tanks will be cleaned up, and Dewalt will eventually be able to expand down here again. Oh, nice mine hitting a lot of those Dragoons. What are the upgrades looking like? We haven't checked that all game. Just 2-0 for Dewalt, compared to 2-2 for TTF. Okay, this game he's getting armor upgrades, but still, considering how late it is, a little bit surprised that neither player got that +3 attack. Very good upgrade, especially for the Terran. Well, TTF starting to get a little bit of a supply lead here. Dewalt's going to have a hard time keeping that expo safe if TTF pushes down in that direction, and maybe that's why he expanded here, just because pushing down to the bottom right is going to be the natural place he wants to go to. But TTF just lifting off that command center again. He has expanded to top right, so he doesn't necessarily need that one. He is on 2 mining bases as well. His 2 mining bases with far more minerals than his opponent's 2. Well, Dewalt will try to expand here again. Oh, epic duel! Probe versus SCV. Probe getting injured, down to 2 health. Oh, and runs away. No, Zealot. What a cheater. Walt, you need to use that epic probe micro. Micro down the SCV. Alright. So, yeah, he's going to transfer more probes down here, but this base is just ripe for more and more vulture harass if TTF wants to go in that direction. He's actually moving out with his force. Last time he cut through the center, and I think he might be a little bit better off if he just goes up and tries to take that high ground pot. It gives him more opportunities to attack a lot of different bases. Not to mention that this base really doesn't matter for mining very soon, so if he takes it out, it's not a huge deal. And, oh, not getting those vultures in the correct positions, but the Zealots are going the wrong way. They need to go into the tanks. Oh, but there we go. Some huge mines there. Finally getting those mine debacks that have been so threatening this entire series. But not enough, because most of the Zealots went away from the tanks into the vultures instead of into the tanks. TTF had left the door open for Dewalt to get a really nice attack off, but no, the Zealots just go in the wrong direction, and TTF is going to be able to win that battle handily and continue to move on, taking a lot of good map position here. As both players' supply is dwindling. Oh, if he manages to take up to that high ground, that's a dominating position, and Dewalt might not be able to do it. But no, TTF getting a little bit too ahead of himself. Dewalt is able to come down, and no siege mode means that all these tanks are in full retreat. Mines, oh, Mines could have done a lot more damage there, only managing to take out the back tank. Very lucky. And eventually these are going to get whittled down, you would think. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a costly engagement with no siege mode. Now the Dragoons start to move back. Last one dies to a mine. But Dewalt has managed to stop TTF. Neither player really has the supply to continue attacking at the moment. Unless they want to do some more harassed base stuff. Clearing out some mines in the middle of the map. TTF needs to pull back and use that high ground to his advantage to be able to win any of these fights. This is a lot of open space. He really would rather not confront Dewalt here, even if Dewalt doesn't have a very large army. EMP going down, but missing the Arbiter. Going to cost on the science vessel as well. And those tanks are sieging up way back here. They're sieging up, oh, but they're not on the high ground. And if they're not on the high ground, then they miss. Well, the splash damage always do damage. It's a pretty big difference between doing 80 damage and 30 damage. And here come the speed lots. There is nothing to protect the tanks, and he could get a huge mine drag. He gets an okay mine drag. Oh, but TTF up at the top side of the map trying to stop Dewalt from expanding over here, while at the same time attacking this base and completely stopping mining from there. Dewalt is not mining from very many places at all, but continuing with the aggression to try to stop down TTF's mining, just completely disregarding the fact that he has no economy of his own. Now coming in with Zealots, are they going to be able to focus down the... Yes, they focus down the Nexus. Huge blow to Dewalt as he won't be mining for quite a while now. These two bases are mined out. He has to wait for that Nexus to come all the way in, and Dewalt he has a little bit of a bank to work with, but it's still very nice being able to snipe that Nexus before the tanks go down. The Dragoons doing good damage of their own, taking out a lot of these SCVs as they don't pull back. Are they going to be able to get the command center? Nope, the command center is going to lift off and fly away. They did manage to kill off a lot of the SCVs though, and TTF does not have an excess of them. Supply lead closing for TTF, or excuse me, for Dewalt. Only 10 supply lead now. Dewalt going in for yet another attack. Just attacks all over the map with relatively small Protoss forces. He doesn't have the supply to make a big army, so he's just going to be constant aggression. And it forces this one to lift off too. He won't be able to snipe it. Doesn't quite get as many SCVs, but he stopped mining, and that's the point. Only one mining base for TTF, and TTF has a little bit of a bank as well, but not that much. Ooh, takes out the refiner as well. The Dragoons won't be able to get out of there, so they will be killed off by the tanks eventually, but still, great damage done. Great damage done. Still only 2-0. I think he's forgot about upgrades. Compared to 3-3 for the Terran. There's the great upgrades for the Terran. And now, especially with these low army situations for Dewalt, those upgrades are really going to make it hard for him to get back into any of these engagements. Terran's already strong enough, but if you give him that much of an upgrade lead, it's near insurmountable. Dragoons tries to run away, but unfortunately, there were mines there as well. Well, the Nexus has been reestablished. Ooh, but all the probes are gone. He might have transferred the probes away. Has more probes to bring over. Looks like he's bringing probes from both of his other bases. All of his probes will be at this base, so if it goes down one more time, then Dewalt will have a very hard time of getting enough probes to continue mining. He absolutely must be able to defend that base, but TTF, he's not going to stop. There are vultures on the way to already to harass it. There are a couple goons here, a couple of very injured cannons here. Oh, nice mine hitting a lot of units. Oh, man. Oh, man. TTF almost mined out here, but still has this base, and that's what matters. This base, I think with Dewalt focusing most of his army in the bottom, TTF won't be able to get this base up. But if it's one base versus one base, TTF, I think he's going to be fine with that position, especially with that upgrade advantage. It's really going to help him out. And that is still a very fearsome army. Oh, TTF finally managing to explode his supply. 152 compared to just 90 for Dewalt. Losing that Nexus really hurt Dewalt. He wasn't able to continue making units. And TTF, if he pushes now, which it looks like he wants to, Dewalt might not have anything to stop it. Oh, losing a couple of Dragoons there. He does have an Arbiter, he does have a Templar, but he's going to need great storms. Neither of them actually have very much energy. Just one storm on the Templar, and not even enough for a stasis on the Arbiter. Man, Dewalt needs to figure out a way to slow down the Terran to be able to kind of get closer in supply. He can't deal with that much of an army right now. Speedlot's going to help. A really nice mine to back would, well, be really nice. TTF trying to take this, but as I said, Dewalt's going to be able to just put exactly as much pressure as he needs to down here to take it out. So the SCVs actually might be able to kill the Dragoon. Possibly. Has this SCV been trapped here the entire time? Because it's been there for quite a while. Just sitting there, auto repairing that missile turret. Oh man. Well, Terran's almost maxed. Actually, he needs to make more supply depots. Apparently he lost some along the way. Or maybe he was in a command center that he lost. Maybe he just never actually got up that high. And he's just been constantly throwing away units, so he never got up to maxed. But he will be max 200 very soon if he wants it. Dewalt only at 100 supply. He's going into guerrilla mode, just trying to avoid this huge mass that will kill him immediately if he was to engage head on. Just finding a way to do some damage. Just finding any way to do damage. This base now has some defenses at it with vultures and mines and tanks. This base also has a lot of tanks, and Dewalt's going to go up the ramp to try to take it, but even without the majority of the force helping out, I don't even think he's going to be able to get up that ramp. I think that this is Dewalt's final attack. He's going to lose most of his units. EMP going down on a lot of those units, taking away the shield, taking away the energy of that High Templar, and Dewalt's going to be forced back. He didn't lose that many Zealots. And no Dragoons, but still, he needed that attack to do more than it did. And now TTF looking very secure on 2 mining bases compared to Dewalt's 1. He could try to expand here, but that's going to be rather difficult. And is now TTF going to go in for the death blow? He has a lot of tanks streaming down. Tanks streaming, rarely something you hear in a PvT, but that's what he is doing. Oh, eating a lot of those mine hits. He cannot afford to do that. And this, Dewalt's going in for another attack. But oh, those Dragoons. Just Dragoons stacking on top of Dragoon corpses and then becoming Dragoon corpses of their own. GG for Dewalt. Even with those great stasis, just not enough to overcome all that. And TTF ties it up 2-2. Alright. So, final game, TTF versus Dewalt. Game number 5 on Icarus. Ooh, that is not a good map for Protoss. On the right side, we have TTF as the Brown Terran. The Brown Terran? There we go. And in the bottom position, we have Dewalt as the white Protoss. Icarus is a bad map for Protoss just because of how small the push distances are. That makes Terran just so scary on this map. And Dewalt... Dewalt has to deal with that very small push. Even if they were cross positions, it still would be close on any other map, but... we'll see, man. Icarus is good for Reaver Harass. And he has gone to Reaver Harass every game with limited results, but maybe it'll work this time. It also doesn't help that TTF got the positionally imbalanced side. If you were to consider that if TTF and Dewalt had changed places, then the Reaver Harass just pops in and attacks, and they can very quickly get back. But as it is, Dewalt would have to go up and around to get Reaver Harass, and then go up and around to come back. Which really helps out Terran. TTF with something kind of like a wall. It's not actually tight or anything. Maybe he wanted to make a tight wall, but he messed it up? Not sure. Meanwhile, Dewalt going one gate core once again. Not going for a Zealot once again. Not going to be that kind of aggression. And really it just comes down to, will he go one gate Robo, or will he actually throw down more gateways and be aggressive with the Dragoons in the early game? He started the supply depot here. I guess maybe that is Zealot tight. Supply over barracks is Zealot tight. Is everything else tight? I guess. Yeah, it just kind of looks weird, but it'll work. Well, Dewalt will be scouting. Both players will be scouting their opponent last. In fact, kind of surprised they didn't meet in the middle and then go in the correct directions. But apparently, either they weren't paying attention or afraid that their opponent had gone for a later scout. And oh, this is bad for Dewalt. TTF already got in and he saw the robotics facility off of one gate. It's really unfortunate that Dewalt couldn't get that Dragoon out in time. TTF once again going for a 2-fact. So, 2-fact versus 1-gate Robo. Possibly Reavers again. And I really just, I like TTF's chances. I really... If he goes 1-gate Obs for some odd reason, then almost certainly TTF could take it, because there just won't be enough units. If he goes Robo, then maybe he can have good enough Reaver harass again. You went Obs first? Ooh, he went Obs first. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This is gonna be really hard to hold off. TTF changing up his 2-fact a little bit. Last time he went for 2 machine shops and then getting 2 tanks out immediately. And then more tanks beyond that. But this game he's going only a single machine shop. So he'll be producing tanks off of one and vultures off of the other. Most likely. I would doubt he'd stop tank production for more vultures. But he's really... He did not go Reaver this game. And he's not even going to move out with his Dragoons, so TTF can set up a contain. No, man, it does not help that these mid-distances are so short. Dewalt. Oh, Dewalt, you need something better than Obs. The Dragoons will be moving out now just in time to see that the contain's about to be set up. Mines are already being laid. And TTF can do anything off of this if he wants to. Ooh, I don't know if that's the best decision going up into the main. That's pretty risky. In fact, there are enough Dragoons here to do some good damage. But he's going to go for it anyway. There is an Obs out, but Obs doesn't help out if you aren't actually shooting at the mines. He will be able to snipe the tank, though, and now he's going to push back. I think he would have been better off just going for the contain. Oh, man, I'm really surprised. But TTF went for the attack. I guess he figured that he needed to do some good damage with it instead of just trying to contain his opponent. So he went in, tried to get something done, and Dewalt just microed correctly. He microed that well, took out the tank, and then had the early obs so that the spider mines weren't that effective on the retreat. Well, that's going to put Dewalt significantly behind economically, not only because he cut to get the 2-fact out, but also because that Nexus is going to be mining significantly sooner. Even though the command center's on the way, it's unknown exactly how long it's going to take him to float it out, and then the actual floating time is significant enough to consider it. And that is a pretty fast Citadel from Dewalt, transitioning from pure Goon a little bit early, but it's unclear exactly what he's going to transition into. Could be Templar. It's going to be Templar. Do we have more DT drops? I don't know. It could be DG drops. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibilities. He wouldn't need to build the shuttle this early, so the fact that there's no shuttle yet does not prove anything. one way or the other. Looks like the Dragoon's getting pretty aggressive here, but the siege tanks are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Takes out one. Yeah, taking him back. And the barracks suffers about half health. But that's fine. TTF's going to try to expand, but that's a little bit risky of an expansion. I guess Dewalt didn't bring all of his Dragoons, so he'll be fine for the time being, but if Dewalt had brought his entire force, he has to put his tanks in a little bit of an awkward place. And apparently he's stuck. Oh, alright, there's the shuttle. And there are the DTs. So it is going to be for DT drops, hoping that his opponent didn't get E-bays or turrets, but he got E-bays and turrets every game. So... okay, every game except for the one on Aztec. That one he did not have DT, did not have DT tech. But that was a significantly different game. Yeah, I think that those turrets covered just about everything. Like, there might be a little gap here that they don't cover. But those 3 turrets covered just about everything. And the shuttle is out somewhere. There's the shuttle. 2 DTs are out. And in the shuttle, I don't know what he's waiting to load up for. He doesn't have any zealots in production, doesn't have any more DTs in production. He's just gonna get good? Nope. Sitting there waiting for unknown reasons. Oh, that is unfortunate. Vultures are going to see the shuttle. That takes away the element of surprise. He doesn't know what's in the shuttle, though. Alright. Oh, here comes the shuttle. And there goes the DT. So Dewalt certainly knows what's up now. Needs to be careful not to lay the mines too close. Excuse me. Not to lay mines too close to the mineral line, so there's accidentally a mine splash on the on the SCVs. I guess he did find a little bit of a sweet spot here, where that turret can't quite see him, and he can wail away on the factory. But SCVs are coming to repair it, and if he gets too close... yeah. Oh, wow. They managed... oh, he was shooting at SCVs. Okay. I was wondering if the DT just took one step forward and was invisible again, but no. TTF trying to be fancy, using the siege tank, having the siege tanks attack the SCV to accidentally kill the DT. And he is getting Goliath range. He already has a control tower up, but he's not getting a Wraith this time. Here comes the Speed Vultures going in for a little bit of harass. This base has not been set up yet, and there's even a pylon wall, so they won't be able to get in there. And there are a lot of Dragoons in that front, so really won't be able to use either. Dewalt trying to elevator in some units? Just being kind of annoying at this point. The Goliaths are trying to get in there to get the shuttle. Both of them moving forward, does a little bit of damage but can't kill it. And there is still that one DT left that was wailing away on the factory. Oh man, random turret. Not a significant reason to be there considering that the command center hasn't even started yet. Gonna pick off that shuttle. It was only one DT, so not horrible. Arbiters are once again on the way. Dewalt really likes those fast Arbiters, apparently. He's gone for him in most games here. But here comes TTF's dropship harass. And it's just going to be a tank. I assume there are a couple of other Vultures. Oh. A little bit too slow to click on that. But just trying to be... excuse me. Just trying to do a little bit of damage. Didn't really get much. These Dragoons are going to come up and take out the turret, see if there's an expansion. There's not, but they'll take out the SCV anyway. And TTF is moving out for another attack, but he's doing it at a significant supply deficit. I don't think he realizes how many Dragoons Dewalt has. His economy is significantly worse, so Dewalt's been able to make a lot more units. And ooh, getting some nice mine hits, that helps. but I don't think that's going to be enough. There are observers out, multiple observers out, so he shouldn't be running into two more. Excuse me, shouldn't be running into too many more mines. Forgetting the many part. Now, moving forward, TTF is forced to retreat. He's going to be able to get back to his natural, but is that going to be enough? Oh, wow. That mine almost blowing up on the Zealot, but the tanks blocked it, and in doing that, saved themselves. But TTF is backed up as far as he can be. Stasis is done for Dewalt, so that's going to help if he wants to break this. That would be a very nice stasis, or that would be a very nice stasis. Either one. Is he getting recall as well? Wouldn't be surprised. No, not yet. The only thing that's helping Dewalt here is the fact that the only thing that's hurting Dewalt here is the fact that he doesn't have any speed lots. And there's one. He has a speed lot. Ooh. If he did that Arbiter trick with the speed lot, that would do so much damage. Just getting those mines to blow up all those tanks, that'd be great. There's a turret, but I think that they could get close enough to hit these tanks before the turret could see it. Possibly. Apparently, foreign language of the day in the chat is German. I tried to convince Bakuyu once to join me and do a German cast. Because I took 3 years of German in high school, and I could speak German about as well as a 5-year-old. Maybe a 4-year-old. And I think it would be really funny to try to do a German cast. But Bakuyu poo-pooed that idea, because he'd said it would just be him casting. And that's a fair point. It would essentially be him casting with a 5-year-old, but as the 5-year-old, I didn't find that bad of an idea. Oh, dude, my favorite thing about German is that German's such an angry language. And you can just say anything in German, and it sounds like you're trying to conquer the world. Like I can scream, "Ich habe viel Hausaufgaben!" And that means I have lots of homework. But it totally sounds like I'm talking about world domination. It's great. I love that language. Stasis going down on the science vessel. Don't know why he even bothered to do that, because he's not going in for attack anytime soon. He has no zealots. Excuse me, he has a single zealot. There is a single zealot in that huge pack of dragoons. You need more. Okay, there's another zealot. Alright, now we're trying to produce zealots. Well, Science Vessel is going to come out of stasis to do anything at all. I don't know why Dewalt used a stasis on that. He has another one that he can stasis it again. I guess he might have been stasising it preemptively just so the Science Vessel couldn't come forward. But doesn't matter because Arbiter's going to get EMP'd anyway. Even if Bakuyu said yes, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want to do a German cast for ISL, because ISL's a little bit too serious for that. Also, he's playing, so it's kind of awkward to commentate on your own games. So that's 2 reasons why Bakuyu shouldn't co-cast. But it's something that I want to do, like, in the future, like some random week of Gambit Cup, when it's not terribly important between 2 teams that are not going to have playoff hopes. There still aren't really enough zealots here, but Dewalt's max, so he can't actually make more zealots. He's got a lot of expansions around the map because it's really all he can spend his money on now. And TTF is just stuck on 2 bases. It's 128 supply compared to max. Okay, now we're gonna go in. Huge stasis going down. Might have been 2 stasises, not sure. No, I guess there's only 1. And yeah, battle. Ugh, he didn't stasis in the right spot. That's why he stasis in the back. Because now you just created like a really small choke to try to funnel goons through. And the choke wouldn't be that bad if you had more zealots, but you didn't have enough zealots in that engagement. And I would almost say, okay, well, you threw away a lot of your army, so now you can make zealots. But you only threw away zealots, so you'll have the same number of zealots as you had before. You have too many arbiters. You have like 5 arbiters. No, he lost 1. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, 5 arbiters. Yeah, that's a lot of arbiters. Again, if you stasis in the front, that actually does more harm than good when trying to attack if you actually want to get back as far as those tanks. You gotta stasis these tanks in the back so that they're not doing damage to you all along the way. And there's still not really enough zealots. They're kind of getting stuck on the goons anyway, and that choke does not help, and Dewalt's gonna have to pull back again. Land it! Land it! Oh, he's not gonna land it. Okay. So, TTF wasn't paying attention, so he's gonna lose a command center to cannons. Does manage to get it out of range, but it's burning. I don't think he has enough time to land to get a SCV out to repair it. Oh, and Dewalt still needs more zealots. Oh, okay. This works too. You could just wait for TTF to actually move out, and then he'll be in a bad position, and then you can go and attack him. Oh, he brought an SCV to go repair it. Nice. And Dewalt's coming in again. Again with too many goons. But the stasis this time was a little bit better because these tanks won't be blocking him as he comes in. Unless they all go down here, then it would be blocking him. And still pulls back because he doesn't have enough zealots. Wow. SCV's trying to repair a command center and the Arbiter's shooting at the SCVs to try to stop them. Oh, this kind of represents the game right here. This. Going in again. Again, not enough zealots. Again, Dewalt's gonna have to pull back. I don't know what you're expecting to happen differently. Dragoons aren't good enough to attack like that. You need speed lots. Speed lots are pretty good. So, TTF is mined out of 1 base, and Dewalt, even if he does just keep throwing away goons into TTF, it's going to be fine, because TTF only has 1 mining base, and it's pretty low. He doesn't have a huge bank. So, yeah, he doesn't really need to actually kill Dewalt, or excuse me, kill TTF off. He does need to prevent TTF from getting these tanks up here to be able to take out this base. He has just 4 arbiters sitting here. 6 arbiters. 7 arbiters. Why do you have 7 arbiters? Dewalt, if you killed off like 4 of those arbiters, that would give you enough supply for like a control group of zealots. And then you could win the game with a control group of zealots. Because you need like 2 control groups of zealots, and you always only attack with 1 control group of zealots. Oh, TTF trying to get fancy with some harass. But Dewalt kind of owns the map, so it really doesn't matter. Oh, okay, we had to recall. That works too. I guess you could use your arbiters to recall. That's going to take away TTF's last mining base. at least for a while until this gets cleared up. But there's a second recall. Okay, so double recall. Both of them get cleaned up, but he did kill... Oh, he didn't kill off the command center. He did just stop mining here for a while, and that's good enough. That's kind of worth it. And yeah, I mean... Was he really any more successful with those attacks, or any less successful with those attacks than he has been this entire time otherwise? Although, by recalling up there, he did get a couple extra Dragoons to help out and stop Dewalt from being able to move in that direction. And Dewalt's still getting pretty close to mined out. 2 Dragoons up here, preventing an expansion from going down there, and even if, TTF was to clear that out, it wouldn't be enough. You just couldn't defend it. Oh, yeah. Eventually, TTF is gonna starve. It's just kind of a matter of time. Eventually. Eventually. He's just gonna win. I mean, Dewalt's been maxed for the past, like, 10 minutes almost. And TTF has barely gotten past 120 at one point. Now down to 85. And this Arbiter's gonna kill a barracks. That's cool. Still repairing that one command center, trying to keep it alive. Dewalt has, like, 32 minerals plus 100 left. Okay, he has 34 minerals. Recall and recalling in 2 more Arbiters. GG, finally, from TTF, after having absolutely no money. Dewalt manages to go and play standard in game 5, not be reverse swept, and he will be advancing on. All right. So, series number 2 is boom. Michael versus Kogut. And we will be coming to Michael versus Kogut just after this commercial break. Sport altitude. There we go.